If guys got raped and pregnant, there would be abortions available on every corner. Every street corner, you'd have a different clinic that would take care of the problem.
So Howard Stern said a few things I really agree with. One of them is that if men got pregnant, there wouldn't be an abortion debate. Long ago, back in like early 90s, there was a comic named Chris Collins. And Chris was hilarious. And one of his bits was about abortion. And he said, if men got pregnant, you'd be able to get an abortion at a vending machine. It is absolutely true. Howard Stern said it. Listen, men were ready to tear down and burn up the country over wearing a mask. How do you feel? How do you think they would feel if the government told them, oh, you're pregnant? You have to have the baby. You have to carry the pregnancy to term. We don't care if it's wanted, unwanted. We don't care if you're a victim of a rape, whatever. You're pregnant. You have no choice. How do you think guys who were ready to blow up the Capitol over wearing a mask would feel about that? But again, they don't have to worry about it because men don't get pregnant. I've always said men shouldn't have any word in this abortion debate until a man gets pregnant.
This all started because of this electoral college. And, I've got a real problem with this idea, the concept that the majority of the people in the United States do not get what they want.
Okay, this issue, Howard Stern took it back to the electoral college, but I don't just blame the electoral college. I blame the Democratic Party. Why? Because you didn't get Hillary Clinton in office. You didn't visit Michigan, and you didn't pound into people's minds how important the Supreme Court is. And this is what we get. What do we get, people? We get a right-wing Supreme Court that we knew from the start was going to do away with abortion. They want to get everybody a gun. And if they can stop black people from voting, well, that's just a bonus, isn't it?
How much more of this bull that some hillbilly in South Dakota gets a more important vote because he lives in South Dakota?
Now, Howard knocked hillbillies from South Dakota, and I say with no offense to hillbillies or South Dakota, the electoral college system is broken because the country has changed. When the Constitution was written, this was a rural farming country. Population centers have moved to the cities, population centers have moved to the coasts, and it shouldn't be that, it shouldn't be weighted equally, okay? But this would be up to the Democrats. This would be up to the Democrats. And I said this before, I will say this again. If a Republican, and it's never going to happen, but if a Republican ever won the popular vote and lost the electoral college and lost the presidential election, the Republicans would destroy the electoral college. It would be their number one thing, and they would do it. Why? Because Republicans get things done, okay? I don't agree with them. I don't agree with their methods, but they get things done. Can you imagine a Republican winning the popular vote and losing the election? No, you can't, because it would never happen. They would change the entire system. The Constitution means nothing to them. They're just about power and control, and that's what they've got. Legislate from the bench, like I said, it's fine as long as they're doing it. Then there's no problem with it. And the Democrats, they talk, they act outraged, blah, 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 and they do nothing. I'm sorry. Nothing gets done. The Supreme Court should be expanded. There should be, like I say before, I read this, 25 justices. If there were 25 justices or more, then one justice, one or two justices wouldn't make a big difference. Instead, we have a Supreme Court that they installed some right-wingers on, and then you had Clarence Thomas go nuts and do what his wife says, and now Roe v. Wade will be overturned. The gun thing is going to go crazy, and they've already been dismantling voters' rights. What more do the Democrats need to see before they're like, we should organize and maybe change the Supreme Court?
Let me tell you something. Here's what I say. All unwanted children should be allowed to live at the Supreme Court building with those justices, and they should raise every one of those babies. That crackpot Clarence Thomas and that wife, and all of them, they can raise these babies that they want.
Finally, Howard said, leave these kids on the Supreme Court steps. Leave them at the Supreme Court building. Wow, what a protest that would be if someone actually did that. Now, I'm not advocating that for real. You'd probably get arrested, but I get his point. These people don't care about children. All this talk about the sacred lives of children, they don't care about children. Any social program, whether it be for food, housing, healthcare for underprivileged or poor children, is considered a handout. It should not be done. Public schools are horrible, absolutely horrible. What does the Republicans want to do? They want to ban books and make it worse. They don't want to educate children. They're against the student loan forgiveness program, because the last thing Republicans want is an educated populace. Don't pretend this has anything to do with Christianity, because this is not Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ's teachings, if you believe them, were very charitable, and it was a lot of love thy neighbor and help the humble and be humble and yeah, right. Not happening. So this has nothing to do with that. It doesn't have to do with the rights of women. They don't care about the rights of women. It has to do with control. This is about control. I'm not even sure why they want that. Like, why are they so anti-abortion? But I will tell you another thing. The people making these laws and the people in power have no problem getting abortions, because if their children get pregnant, just like in the old days prior to Roe v. Wade, if you had money and your child got pregnant and you didn't want to have the baby, you flew to Europe. You went on a, quote, European vacation. Now they'll just go to a blue state. They'll go to California or New York, where abortion will remain legal if it's up to the states. And also, stop knocking these women, okay? Because there are a myriad of reasons for abortion, and you don't know, you can't imagine what it's like. Yes, I've been with women and I've walked women through this, and it's an agonizing decision for women to make. Now, I read a story just today about an 11-year-old girl who was pregnant. Yeah, her mother took her to the doctor because she had started menstruation and then it stopped. And this doctor said that she learned in medical school, do a pregnancy test, even if you don't believe it. Turned out the 11-year-old girl was pregnant. They found a member of the family who had raped her. The parents of this 11-year-old child, it's a child having a baby, they decided to abort, and now that woman is in her young 20s, and this doctor said, I don't know what happened with her, but I'm glad she was able to get the abortion. Women get raped, but sometimes, who knows what, it might be financial, it might be family, whatever the reason, it should be up to them, but it's not. It's not up to them. The Supreme Court has said in advance when this case comes up, okay, this case is supposed to come up in a month or two. I think it's Mississippi challenging Roe v. Wade. They've already made up their minds. And we knew this there's no surprise. We knew that this Supreme Court was going to strike down Roe v. Wade. All of this fake outrage is just that. Every Democratic senator, congressperson, whatever, who's acting like they're outraged, stop it. You knew this was coming. You've done nothing. So stop pretending to be outraged. And just like your Republican counterparts, stop pretending you care about these women or about these unborn children or children that are born or life. You don't care about life. Really, life is sacred. Have you been to a school shooting lately? There's enough of them. Stop it. Either do something or shut the hell up. Okay? Expand the Supreme Court. Take away this much power from a few extreme justices and get this country back on course. How about some fairness? How about the majority rules? These are the kind of things Howard was talking about, and he's right. Don't leave your baby on the steps of the Supreme Court. Don't go to jail for doing that. And don't go to the government with another insurrection. Let's just light a fire under these Democrats who are talking to actually do something. And by the way, let's get rid of the old guard and bring in new blood, which is a rant for another day.